All right, this is going to be Algebra 2, Lesson 3-7. We are on Intro to Solving Graphs. So in terms of the unit guide, here's 3-7, and we are on Standard J. So I kind of want to pick up on this lesson where we left off in the last lesson, and that is how to use the TI-83 to find min and max. So on the homework, I didn't actually want you to graph. I wanted us to just learn how to use the calculator and go from there. So I didn't even check to make sure the calculator fits in the screen, and it does. Perfect. Okay, so say you have a TI-83, either a ROM or an actual calculator. Ben, Arrow, what type of phones do you guys have? Can you run this on your phone, a TI-83 ROM emulator?
Nope.
Nope. And Arrow, no? Okay, so we can do that after class. And Claire, if you're listening, you can go ahead and get this on your phone. I'll show you guys what it looks like on my phone. You should probably use a TI-83 Plus. That's what you can use in calculus. But you can use a different TI-83. The TI-89 Silver Edition, I think, is like the go-to. It looks so nice, and you don't have to memorize as much stuff as you do with the TI-83. That's my weird tangent. So let's go ahead and make sure that your calculator is cleared, and let's go ahead and graph a function. So do you guys have your homework from the other day still in your notebook? Let's go to the y equals button, and let's graph that function, or plot that function. So what was that function? Can you guys read it to me so I can do it on mine too? What was the function on your homework for number 5?
Fx equals x squared.
All right, so
x plus 9.
X squared minus x plus 9. So this is the x button here. This is x and then squared.
Wait, what's the x button?
X button is underneath the link. It's the x, t, theta, n.
Oh, yeah.
And then you can hit the squared button down here. X squared, and you said minus x?
Minus. Oh, yeah. Minus x plus 9.
And then plus 9. Plus 9. So you have this shown in your calculator, right? If there's a glare, you guys can turn off the lights. I know it's kind of hard for me to see.
Turn off the front lights.
All right.
See what buttons you press.
Okay. And from there, we want to see what that looks like as a graph. Much better. So when we hit the graph button, far right, it will slowly graph this function. And you'll notice that it might be out of your window. It'll just be right up here. Do we all see that? When we hit the graph button on the right, do we get something that looks like this? So we could actually find the min and max, or the minimum in this case, because this was a positive exponential function from here. But we want to maybe recenter our window, or at least make our y scaling a little bit. So go ahead and go to the window button.
Wait, I got something totally different.
Do you only have one function in here?
No.
X squared minus
There were
x.
like a ton of different weird ones.
May I see?
Well, I got this. But there were a ton of different weird ones, like
Yeah,
y
so-
equals x to the 56th squared or something.
Here, I will fix that for you. I just cleared those functions out. Yeah, Ben had a bunch of functions down here. So when you go to window now, you can change the y max. So if I hit the arrow down a few times, if I'm hovering over y max, we can make this a little bit bigger if we want. We can make this 20, hit 2, 0 to make this 20. And then if we hit graph again after our y max is bigger, then it will have a bigger y max and we can see our function a little bit better.
It's not graphing. Maybe it's just not there. How do you navigate around?
So
Is it just these?
you can't. That is, the window is permanently set.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And there's nothing in it.
So what was your window? Was it between -10 for the x min and the x max is 10, y min is -10, y max is 20? Can you check your window settings?
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, it's -5. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, change your y max to 20. And then go ahead and hit graph again. We should see a graph roughly like this. Arrow, you good?
I think so.
Okay. So Ben, you're there?
Still working on changing this.
All right.
Because I have to change 4 different things.
May I see arrow? Oh yeah, okay, so I'll teach you there because that might be. So whenever you want to do a negative, you can't hit the minus. This is the negative symbol, this is a minus symbol. They mean different things. So you want to do a negative 10 using this symbol.
Which symbol?
The negative symbol is to the left of the enter, it's in the bottom right.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So everyone has their graph that looks like this, working on it. Arrow, you good? Thumbs up? Ben?
Still changing these because I got that.
All right, I'll leave the window settings for you to copy. All right, so I think you can multitask, Ben, hopefully.
How do I save these changes?
You just don't. You just hit graph. It automatically saves.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Okay, so I want to find exactly where that minimum is. I mean, I can guesstimate and say it's maybe at 8-ish, but we want to find exactly. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit trace. This button, trace. And now if I hit left and right, it will trace the function. It will hover over the function. So let me write down these steps in our notes, and you guys can follow with me. So the steps for finding the minimum or the maximum. I'm just going to say min/max, and that means like it's going to be a minimum or a maximum, not both. So the steps. The step 1 for finding the minimum or maximum on the TI-83 Plus is to, well, okay, this is assuming that we've entered all of our information. So should I go through, do you guys want in your notes how to enter the equation into the y equals and how to change your window? Can I just go through how to do these following steps? I'm just going to do the following steps. So assume you have your graph on your calculator. So the first step is to, sorry, that's not right. We need to hit our second calc. So second calc, and we want to find the minimum in our case, right? Because it comes down. So you can either scroll down and hit enter on 3, or if you're at 1, you can just hit 3 on your calculator. So it says we're finding the minimum. So the way that we did that was we hit second, and I do a little box to mean it was a button, second, and then we did trace. That was how to do the calculation. Actually, our next step was to hit number 3. And that will give you, or sorry, it will be a minimum or a maximum, right? Because when we hit second trace, it gave us a minimum or a maximum. So it can be 3 or 4. 3 or 4. Okay, step 3. So we need to set the left boundary. That's what it's asking for. So go a little bit left of the point. And what that means is usually if you're starting on the point, so start on the point and then go left 3 on your little arrow thing. So start at what you believe to be the min/max. Are you guys writing down these steps with us? Then go left 3 times. So we started at the minimum max, and we're going to go left 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to hit enter. So I'm going to hit enter on my calculator. And now it's asking me for the right boundary. You can see in the bottom left it's saying right bound, question mark. And then we're going to go right to the minimum again. So again, for step 4, we're going to start at min and max. And then we're going to go right 3 times. And then we're going to hit enter. So I'm gonna go right 1, 2, 3 times, hit enter. All right, and then you have to guess. And then enter. And it will do its little calculation, and it will say the minimum is at 0.499999823, and the y value is 8.75. So those are the coordinates, and I think we can assume that this is going to be 0.5. We can round to the nearest thousandth if we want, and we can say that the coordinates of our minimum are 0.5, 8.75. So coming back here, we can say that the coordinates of the minimum of the maximum.
How do you get out of that error?
Hold on, coordinates. You do the x comma y. So you had an arrow. That's a tongue twister. It's hard. Can I see? Oh, so you don't actually want to hit anything for the guess. You want to trace the guess. So your guess where the minimum is by hitting left and right on your trace, and then make your guess. All right, so Ben, did you get this screen where it says the minimum is at this point?
Yeah, and I got 8.75 too.
All right, so then you can write down the coordinates on your homework, because it does ask for the coordinates of the vertex, the coordinates of the minimum in this case. And then you can do a rough sketch of the graph. And you can change the window here. Like this y-intercept isn't until about 7. So I could change my window to say that my y minimum, I can make that 7 instead of -10. And if I were to graph that again, it would be much easier for me to copy that. And you can change your x coordinates too for your window. You can say the x min is -3 and your x max is 3, and then you can graph that again. And it's really easy to graph. So you're just kind of sketching the graph on your homework, and then you want to find the vertex. In fact, I think it'll just go quicker if we don't sketch this at all on our homework. We just want to find the minimum or the maximum. I'm going to assume that you found it because you got it correct. So what I want to do now is I'm going to let you guys finish the homework, and then we're going to move into the notes for this lesson. All right, so that's going to stop this part of the video.